You can get it if you really want. You can get it if you really want. You can get it if you really want. But you must try. Try and try. Try and try. You'll succeed at last.
Will and Zeal on AIT Abuja.
Hello, it is with great pleasure that I welcome you to Will and Zeal. I am Liman Usman. This is one program that is meant to bring to the public view persons with disabilities that are up and doing in their chosen careers, trades, or professions, whatever they may have found themselves in. And in this edition, I am so privileged to have brought to the studio the Senior Special Advisor to the President on Disability Matters. This is the highest political appointment I could say we have ever had in this our country, Nigeria, on disability matters. I will be introducing my guests, Dr. Samuel Ankali, shortly after this break.
Will and Zeal on AIT Abuja.
Dr. Samuel Ankali, it feels so great to have you in the studio today.
I see it as a great honor and pleasure to be with you.
I will want to start by knowing how and when you became blind.
I was born like any other normal child, went through primary school, secondary school. I graduated as a veterinary doctor from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. Went to serve in Ondo State 1989 and 90. And soon after service, I started experiencing some problems and challenges in my eyes. We all thought it was something that could be resolved, and went through all the known hospitals at home, and I ended up overseas. And the conclusion was, you need to live with blindness. That's how the story began, and I found myself where I am today.
Were you told the cause of blindness?
They call it retinitis pigmentosa, and there are 3 types. Incidentally, mine did not fall into any category. So I'm in the category of those with blindness that is classified as unknown.
All right. You are Dr. Samuel Ankali. What sort of doctor? Are you a professional doctor or medical doctor?
I'm a trained veterinary surgeon. I practiced it, I taught it, and I'm still practicing it.
Great. We will get to know how Dr. Ankali continued to manage life after he lost his sight, shortly after the break.
The ability to see is vital to many things we do, from picking out our clothes in the morning to browsing the internet or driving on the road. However, it can be taken away by an incurable rare genetic disease known as retinitis pigmentosa, RP. RP affects 1 in every 4,000 people and is caused when light-sensing cells in the eye are lost. When light from our environment hits the retina, which lines the back of the eye, light-sensing nerve cells called photoreceptors transform the light signal into electrical impulses. Through a series of connections, these signals are transmitted back to the brain, where additional processing results in the experience of sight. In patients with RP, light-sensing cells degenerate, breaking the connections between the eye and the brain. The degeneration of light-sensing cells can be triggered by mutations in more than 60 different genes that cause the cells to fail to function properly and die. Light-sensing cells come in 2 forms, cones and rods. Cones allow us to see in daylight, and rods provide nighttime vision. Because rods are concentrated in the outer portion of the retina and are triggered by dim light, their degeneration affects peripheral and night vision. When the more centrally located cones, responsible for color and sharp central vision, degenerate, color perception, and central vision are lost. Currently, there is no cure for RP. RP patients need better therapies that utilize the tools of tomorrow. With funding from Proposition 71 and the California Institute for Regenerative Medicine, CIRM, California researchers are seeking to do just that. The team of scientists at UC Irvine, directed by Dr. Henry Clausen, are leading the charge. They are using specialized stem cells called retinal progenitor cells, which can be transplanted into the eye and do several things. First, they can support the sick and dying photoreceptors to restore their health. Second, these transplanted stem cells can eventually develop into light-sensing cells themselves. By restoring the health of light-sensing cells in the retina, the stem cell therapy attempts to preserve the connections between the eye and the brain, and the ability to see.
Will and Zeal on AIT Abuja.
You were practicing, okay, you are still practicing it, you said,
Yes.
veterinary.
Yes.
Okay, when you lost your sight, how did you carry on with this?
The first experience I had was to lock myself in a room and try to review what the world was going to be like since there is no more hope with sight. It is a great pain when you see both sides of life. Those probably who are born and they didn't see what I have seen before, they could easily adjust to give up. But knowing the colors I used to see and the surgeries and other things I used to do, it might interest you to know that I have a black belt in judo and I have a red belt in taekwondo. So I'm a very active sportsman, a national champion for that matter.
Okay.
Then suddenly somebody has to hold my hand to go to the next point, to go to the next door. It's not only painful, it's frustrating that I can't read my books if I should read them. So it came to me like a curtain drawing down in a program that is about to end. But God helped me, and the first thing I had to do was to get myself together. I must accept that it wasn't easy that first few days that they told me there is no known medical treatment for my sight. And so I had to look inwards, and I drew up energy from within and from above.
That's good. Oh, it's quite no, it's quite revealing. But then you said you taught veterinary.
Yes.
Where were you doing this?
Like I said, I graduated from ABU, Samaru Zaria. I spent the normal years in the school, and while I was being trained, I used to go on attachment. I go for ambulatory services, and even during service, I served in Ondo, then now Ekiti and Ondo, and from Ikole to Okitipupa. From Ileuji to Owo, I covered virtually every area, vaccinating adìẹ, at Teure, sheep and goats, small and large.
I was going to say, what was the slang?
Yes, so I ended up as a lecturer with Ahmadu Bello University and lectured and trying to see, my dream actually was to become a professor at the age of 40. I gave myself a time limit, and by 25 I was already through with service. And as a lecturer, I thought I'd put myself together, and when this news came, I have to reorganize myself and replan my vision and my purpose in life. So that's where I am. I came through the university system. I lectured there. When that was not to be, I had to return back to the normal civil service, where I worked in the Benue State government as a director of agriculture, in the Ministry of Agriculture, director of livestock services. Then, because I have to adjust to life and I have to be independent, I'll give you an example. If you give me your phone number, because I'm not sure if you'll be there to get it for me on the paper, I need to put it upstairs so that when you're not around, I can do it. And there are so many other informations that the ordinary sighted person wouldn't bother. He just puts in a script paper and said, I will get back to you when I need it. My BVN number, I don't need to get anything to get it through. Any kind of numbers you need to keep, records, date of birth of my children, other information I need in the office. When I talk with my staff, and I recall the things we did in the previous meeting without the minutes being read, they marvel. The reasons are three. One, that God, in His mercy, tries to see that you are not lagging behind. You are not cheated, so there is a balance. Number two, because of the circumstances you find yourself, you need to wake up, knowing that somebody will not be there when you need this information. So you need to wake up. And finally, the environment we find ourselves not too friendly. So of course you need to develop strategies to survive in life. That is what has prompted me to believing that besides Dr. Ankeli, there are other people out there who God has blessed because they lost their sight in a very unique way, a very excellent memory, and very high level of intelligence.
And now you have found yourself in this very high office, the senior special advisor to the president on disability matters. We will want to know what are the challenges, what are the new discoveries that you have found with regards to getting on with life in this new office. But that will be shortly after the break. You're welcome back. Now, Dr. Samuel Ankeli, you find yourself in this highest office that we have in the country at the moment, the highest political appointment that a disabled person have found himself in the country at the moment. What would you say you have found out to be your challenges or your strengths and discoveries in this new office?
Like you observed, it's the first time in the history of Nigeria that we are having such an office, and I must at this point commend and appreciate His Excellency the President of this country, Muhammadu Buhari, for his wisdom and vision in his desire. He wants to have an inclusive society, and he can drive that through his office by creating an inclusive governance. And so I'm saddled with the responsibility of assisting him to see how people with disabilities can be an integral part of this country. And like I said, because it's historic, there are no offices of this nature existing before, so I had nobody to inherit information or work done before. So I started all afresh. I had 4 principal challenges. I will highlight them now, and then 4 areas we intend to focus on to get the desired results. All right. The first one is that the expectation of the people with disabilities and the public on my life as the senior special assistant to the president, I discovered is very, very high. Okay. In fact, like a miracle man, let me just do miracle overnight. Then all the problems are solved in one day, in 1 year, which is actually impossible. And number 2, that the funding that we desire is not just there. We are coming in at a period where there is a recession, and the normal funds that should flow through us and get from other places are a little scarce. Thirdly, I'm seeing a governance structure that doesn't understand disability. In fact, when I walk into your office as a senior special assistant, I know my privileges and rights. But I go through some offices and I say, this one, they demand a right. They demand, if you do this one. It's just a mentality that we have that must change. And the last one, of course, the technical capacity of those who should drive this change and implement programs for disability very low. That means we must do a serious capacity building for the implementers of policies and programs. These are the primary challenges I had. But like I said, we have a focus, and the focus of the president is in 4 pillars. The first one is to have an inclusive education. I must let you know that an educated society is already poised for us to change and development. And the data we have on ground is too poor. So we have to find a way of increasing aggressively and sustaining that policy that helps the children with disability to go to school, access to education, and come out as other able children. Okay. First pillar. Second pillar is the governance structure I talked about. We want to overhaul the system to get a robust government system that acknowledges disability, that we can plan, program, and develop projects that will be inclusive. If you look at actually all the federal ministries, they are not accessible. How many banks are accessible? With apologies, even your office here is not accessible. If I'm in a wheelchair, I can't get to this place. So we are going to work together with government and non-governmental organizations and private sectors to get this kind of system on ground. Thirdly, the public attitude is very poor towards us. And so we have an aggressive direction to see how we can improve the awareness of the public so that they will appreciate us the more. let me tell you something. The first thing is when they see you, they don't call you Dr. Samuel Ankele. They say that blind doctor, that blind SSA. That is a stigma. So negative attitudes must change, whether in public or private life. I want to ask you, in your worship places, I don't know your religion, but is it accessible? Does God discriminate against people with disabilities and disabled people?
Will and Zeal on AIT Abuja.
We are all equal before the law.
Women and girls with disabilities should have the full rights and freedoms enjoyed by everyone in the community.
We are capable and contributing members of society.
We have the right to physical access and information access.
We have the right to life.
We have the right to be rescued in times of disaster.
We have the right to live freely in the community, to live independently and be included.
We must not be tortured, exploited or abused.
We have the same rights as others to choose where we live and where we travel.
We have the right to access information and to express opinions.
We have the right to privacy and to have intimate relationships.
Our children cannot be taken away just because of our disability.
We have the right to education, jobs, and health care.
We have the right to participate in cultural and public life.
Will and Zeal on AIT Abuja.
All developed societies, they have graduated from charity or social model to the rights model, that every human being has rights. You agree with me? And that people with disabilities have a right to live, to also integrate, to marry, to whatever every other person is doing. All the while in Nigeria, we've never had a law for that. Even the constitution is deficient. We are looking at a system and at an approach where the National Assembly will soon pass a bill. Both chambers will harmonize, pass it, and transmit it to the executive and the President, Muhammad Buhari, that I know through my office. Obviously, we are going to get a commission for the rights of persons with disabilities. Those are the 4 pillars we are working on.
Okay. This bill you just mentioned has been going back and forth for a very long time.
Yes.
Why has it been that way? That is on one hand. Okay. 2, you have 4 pillars that you want to put up. When are you going to start digging the hole, filling the sands, and erecting these pillars?
Are you sure the pillars are not starting already?
Well, I don't know until you tell me.
I'll start with the national bill on the rights of persons with disability. Like I said, it's not new to the world. We have it in all over the world. Even in West African countries, in fact, they are surprised that Nigeria is still dragging. When I was on the other side, not in government, as an activist, we started this thing more than 12, 14 years ago. We observed that, yes, the bill is harmonized, it's passed, but it's always at the tenure of a particular term of the presidency. So they normally don't have time to study and to pass it into law. We've had it 4 times. I want to pray and agree and assume and accept that this should be the last time. It is at a very critical stage. I must also let you know.
Sorry, do you know why I will say amen to that? Because you are very close to the government now, and you can whisper it to the ears of the president at all times that this has to be this time around.
This is my bill.
If you fail this time around, I think...
We will not fail. I'll give you reasons.
Okay.
I was the director of campaign, not presidential campaign, that brought in President Muhammad Buhari. And on behalf of the president, I told my people with disabilities that this is what we are going to do for you. And God has given that privilege. My appointment is not man-made, it's God designed, and I must acknowledge that.
Okay.
So I'm not here to please man.
All right.
The president calls us special citizens, and no president has addressed us as such. And because it is not anybody that pushed him to create this office, is by his free will and his desire for an inclusive Nigeria. I think it is just honors on him to get it signed.
All right.
So that is one.
Okay.
You talked about
the pillars.
Pillars.
Yes.
The pillars. I came to office about 12 months ago, precisely in January 2016, and we have started very serious work. Those who are in the media, the other people who are interested, you can see we visited very critical areas, virtually all the MDAs. We are taking along the traditional rulers, we are taking along the political leaders. So I've crisscrossed this country. I've had a series of interactions with my leaders with disabilities. I've discussed with international development partners. I'm discussing with private agencies, as big multinationals as possible. The pillars are already in place, and very soon we begin to see results. In the employment policy, we are thinking we should change the 10% instead of just 2%. Some of us have started getting employed already. We have programs that we encourage those who don't have schools, who didn't go to school and are really educated, to have. I have a shoe factory strategy. I have agricultural system. I'm sure you are aware that I've put together a program where we're going to raise 25 billion naira to support sports development in Nigeria. One area we have excelled as people with disabilities in this country is in the area of sports.
Sorry, what sort of sports?
The para sports.
Oh, okay, for the disabled.
Yes, when the ordinary people go, I call them ordinary because we are extraordinary. When the ordinary people go to Olympics, they come back with their hands on their head. If they try, they come back with one tiny bronze. But we went this last time, we came back with eight gold medals. There's no Olympics that we ever came back with empty hands. And I want to assure you that next Olympics we are coming back with 100 medals.
All right. You have a lot on your table. You have a lot that you do. And we believe that you must be a very, very strong and busy person to be able to handle all this. Finally, we will want to know, what are his personal ambitions? How does he relax? What is the home front like? But just hold on, we'll be back at the other side of break.
The Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities and its optional protocol was adopted on the 13th of December 2006 at the United Nations headquarters in New York and was open for signature on the 30th of March 2007. There are currently 158 signatories to the Convention, 139 ratifications of the Convention, 92 signatories to the optional protocol, and 79 ratifications of the optional protocol. It is the first comprehensive human rights treaty of the 21st century, and it is the first human rights convention to be open for signature by the regional integration organizations. The convention follows decades of work by the United Nations to change attitudes and approaches to persons with disabilities. It takes to a new height the movement from viewing persons with disabilities as objects of charity, medical treatment, and social protection, towards viewing persons with disabilities as subjects with rights, who are capable of claiming those rights and making decisions for their lives based on their free and informed consent, as well as being active members of society. As of the recording of this webcast, the United States has not ratified the convention. It is expected to come up for a vote shortly.
Will and Zeal on AIT Abuja.
All right, now on the final lap of the questions, Dr. Ankali, you have personal ambitions. What are they?
I don't call them ambitions, I call them visions.
Okay.
I want to see how I can conquer the world.
How?
Conquer disability across the globe.
Oh, I thought you were going to be another Hitler.
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to carry bias. I want to use my tongue. I think not just Nigeria, there are other nations that are not treating people with disabilities fairly. We are God's creation. Do you know that there is hope for the living? A living dog is better than a dead lion. I want to convince the world to know that that's the vision I have, and then of course I have a family. People say my children are very beautiful and handsome. I think they are very lovely and intelligent. I like sports. I enjoy a lot of music.
Okay,
I like
just before you go there, you just talked about your children now. So, needless to ask, if you are married, are you married to a blind person or a seeing person?
No, I'm not like others who believe that blind should marry blind. No, I believe that I need somebody to compensate for my inability to see, to read for me, to see the colors, to go to bank, to do those secret things that families should do and grow. Amen.
Let me ask this rather interesting question.
Yes.
Is your wife a beautiful lady?
Woo, you need to look at her first.
How do blind people know?
First, for me, I look at you from my mind. Then number two, as usual, the blind, we use tactile senses to feel. So we are very good sculptors. We can build, we can design, we can feel. So if I tell you this is beautiful, from feeling, from my mind, I know I'm getting the best.
Okay, now finally, how do you relax?
Like I said, I'm a sportsman. Before now, yes, I do a lot of sporting. I like dancing. I like music. I dance with my children a lot. I think I'm a better dancer than most people think.
Okay,
and I like sport.
If I want to play you music on the final note, which one would you prefer?
I like philosophical music, and I go back to Bob Marley.
Which of his songs?
One Love.
Oh, One Love. Okay, you'll get that. But for now, I want to say thank you very much. I'm stretching my hand to you. It's been wonderful having you in the studio.
Thank you very much.
So lovely.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
I commend you for this, and I want to say you are doing a wonderful job. Let me talk now like an SSE. I commend you, and I think you are a model that others should emulate. You have also conquered a lot of barriers to get to this place. May I use you as an example to others? You can occupy any office as long as your mind has the capacity to carry it. May your life shine more than this, and may AIT do more for us. I thank you for all your sacrifice and service for us.
And that is how it has been on Will and Zeal, the maiden edition of it. I am Liman Usman. On behalf of all the hands that made it possible, I want to believe that you will continue to love this program, continue to follow it up. If you have comments or observations that you have to make, please, you can always reach me on the number that is displayed on the screen. And I can assure you that your observations, questions, and whatever